Here's a little bit on getting started on the group project for next time. It will be, instead of doing it in, well, you'll still have a Word project, but instead of making the graphs in Word and doing the computation on your calculator, you'll be doing everything in Excel. Or not Excel, the Minitab, which is like Excel. So be sure that as a group you immediately assign your group different parts as the group leader. The Minitab part is the part that needs to be done first, almost immediately. So you'll get yourself in the Minitab, and then you'll do all of the Minitab. If you assign that to only one person, then that should be about all that person assigned, depending on how many members you have in your group. This is a pretty big task and responsibility to put on someone. Make sure if you do assign it to one person, that person's very tech savvy and good with details. So you may, though, prefer to do it all together and spend some time in the lab, whether it's during Katrina's in the lab from 2 to 4, and so it's sort of you can come in there and get tutoring, but I imagine she would also let you come in there and work on your project on Mondays and Wednesdays and 2 to 4. That's not me for them, but at least it's vibrating instead of just ringing. Then the tech tutor is there Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 2. She's in the lab. And then 2 to 3, she's in a little office, but obviously if you want to use the lab as a group, 11 to 2 on Tuesdays and Thursdays will be a good time to do that. And what I was just going to show you is sort of what you would do. So you want to do it all in one go. So you don't want to close Minitab because sometimes that's been problematic. Also, if you're doing it in the lab uses Minitab 16. And that's very important, so anything on campus will be Minitab 16. Minitab 16 and Minitab 15, which I think is the free download link that I have, are not compatible with Minitab 14, which is the CD that came with your book. So hopefully you've not installed that CD yet. If you have, you probably still need to go ahead and do the free download, and that is in V2L. Under Content, you would go scroll all the way to the bottom of Content, and it says free 30 days Minitab trial download. Yours will look a little different, but
all of us need to download that, or is that different?
If you want to look at it at home, then that's what you need to download and install on your home computer. Yeah. That's 15 or 16, but it's definitely compatible with the computer here, whereas the CD that came with the book is not compatible with the computer here. So if you ever have trouble opening something that somebody else has posted to the discussion board or emailed you, that's probably why if you've installed the CD from your book. So it's better to install this one if you're going to have the Minitab on your computer.
Is that the same one?
Yeah, so I think that's just the data files link in Course Compass and not the actual install. And this is actually one group's project that I'm feeling here. What you want to do is you want to take the data, so not the title column and not the title row, but take all of the raw data and copy and paste it in a Minitab. Now, so I want to copy stuff that I highlighted red. So let me try this again. So I've highlighted all I want to copy, and then Control-C, or you could do edit copy or the copy icon. I like Control-C. And before I'm copying, I'm making sure that especially my quantitative data rows. So this row right here with like the 19, 25, 32, that's quantitative data. I'm making sure that it's just numbers. So no dashes, no quotes, no spaces, no 14.2, TO, 22, nothing but numbers. And that's true of this quantitative data, this quantitative data, this quantitative data, and this quantitative data. So I've got several quantitative data forms, and they should all be just numbers. If they weren't, I would need to change that in Word before I copy and paste. It's very important for those of you where I didn't catch it, if you did like 18 to 22, that you change that to be 20 in your data before you copy and paste it. And then I put my cell in this first white cell, that's C11, and I'm going to paste, Control V, or I could do the paste icon. And then once I've pasted, you'll notice that those things that do have non-numerical stuff in them have a T after them now. So it did say just C1, C2, C3, C4. Now it says C1-T because they're not numbers in there. So C3-T, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, even C9. But notice the stuff that is quantitative data doesn't have the -T. That's exactly as you want it. And if it isn't like that, you've done something wrong, and you need to do it again, copy and paste again, and start with a new Minitab, essentially. So be sure to check that and make sure that your quantitative data does not have the -T on it. That's really essential. So that's copying and pasting and getting the data in. Are there any questions about that? Okay. And then it's sort of just following the directions. So I scroll down and I can watch the video too. And hopefully I'm going to take a video of today's class talking about this, and I'll embed it there so that it replaces the older video. Again, group leader and member roles are much the same. You'll take this and you'll paste it into except you'll change your group name to, obviously, whatever your group name is. And then the list of members, you will change to a list of names of people, and then you'll put in the due date when the project is due. And then you want to put in labels. And for labels, this particular group is sort of already set. Most groups, though, will have really long titles that are right here, but you need to narrow it down to 1 or 2 words. And so instead of saying, are you male or female, they just have gender here. And instead of saying, what is your age, they just have age here. So you would need to do that sort of thing. And then those very abbreviated, and you can type them in there, but put those titles, they have to be 1 or 2 words at most. And even if they are long words, so like not support death penalty, you could abbreviate that even further because you'll know what it means. So get them down to as few words as possible, because one of the functions won't work if there are too many words. Yes, Bobby?
How long does it take?
Yeah, try refreshing it, and worst case scenario, I can go in later and submit it for you. So just try refreshing the page, and that's all. Yeah, just power it down. You did save, right? If it didn't save, it only didn't save the last few questions. So your last. Oh, okay. So you're good then. You're good. Just power down, push the power key, hold it down, and you'll be good. That's fun. So shorten all of these as much as possible, even more so than I've done here. And then let's see, the first thing that you'll need to do is number 2. After you've done all this, so stat, basic statistics, display descriptive statistics, and I'm literally just doing what it's telling me here. Maybe I should try to make it bigger. So stat, basic statistics, display descriptive statistics, and then it says I'm going to select variables, or do that so that you can see the variables, and then I'm going to choose every single variable that it'll let me, all of the quantitative variables. And then I'm going to click on statistics and interquartile range and the sum of squares. So I'm going to check interquartile range, sum of squares, and skewness. And then OK. And then click on graph. And I want to do histogram of data and box plot of data. And I'm just literally reading what it tells me to do. And then it says, okay, and then it'll give me a whole bunch of box plots for all of the 4 values. It'll give me histograms for all of the 4 values. And then it will also give me all of this, basically sort of like our one variable statistics, where it gives us the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum value, and then on the second row, Q1, the median, Q3, the maximum, IQR, and even a skewness factor. So a whole bunch of stuff from that display descriptive statistics. And then the next item, I will do following the directions, graph, and then bar chart. And then I want to select from the drop-down menu a function of a variable. And then I'm going to select on the top row cluster, and I'm going to do OK. And mean should already be selected, so we don't see anything over here to select until we put our cursor in here. And putting your cursor in here magically makes these appear, and it says we want to select every single one. And this is where it'll really come, I think the function that it'll really come important, that we abbreviated the column title. So we'll see if those are short enough or not. They may not be. And then it says I can select as many of these as I want, but I'm just going to select one because, again, I'm a little worried about running over. And then select OK. And it will give me bar chart. So here's the chart of jury duty by gender. So is there a difference? I don't know. I mean, there's obviously a difference. Is that significant enough? I don't know. That one doesn't look significant. That one really doesn't look significant, nor does that one. So the one that I would say, the one that's possibly significant, the only one that's possibly significant, is maybe this one, if even that sort of thing. And then, number 4, this will do the frequency tables for you, and it looks a little different than when you actually do it yourself. So, stat, tables, and then tally individual variables. And we want to select all quantitative variables and categorical, so the whole deal. And of course, most of you aren't going to have 12 variables. And then it says we want to select count and percent, and then OK. And then from this, you'll see here is a little mini table for jury duty. So that's a frequency table for jury duty. It has the different values of jury duty, and it has the frequency, counts is equal to frequency, and then it has percentage. But then we have the same thing for actually all 10 of our different variables. The first 3 columns are for convicted, and then these next 3 columns are for support or not support death penalty. So really it has all 10. And then pie chart, you would just do graph, and then pie chart, and all of your categorical variables. So gender's categorical, ethnicity, I think. I'm not really sure which of that. Oh, wait, repeated gender was actually quantitative. Zeros and ones, I believe. And then it says select the high options button and choose decreasing volume. So that means that as you go around the circle, it's going to be in decreasing volume. So it'll have to, I think, the biggest slices first, and then as you move around, the smaller slices. And then select labels, and we want to do slice labels. So labels, slice labels, and we want to choose the category name and percent. It's always good to do that. And okay, and then multiple graphs on separate graphs. And again, I'm just following the instructions exactly as they're written, and then we have a whole bunch of different pie charts.
So we just choose the one we like for all of them.
When you're copying it to the report, you will choose the variable that you're choosing to represent, and only one variable, but in Minitab, I will look for all of the variables. So when it says all categorical variables, I will count the number of pie charts, look at the number of pie charts, to make sure you really do have a pie chart for every categorical variable. But in the project itself, you'll only be copying one of the pie charts. Does that answer your question? I won't go through B and C. B is doing linear regression, so you'll do a scatter plot, but again, if you follow the steps exactly as they're written, it's pretty straightforward. And then C, you're doing a little something different with calculating some Z-scores and graphing a normal probability to plot to see if you've really got a normal distribution, and that sort of thing. When you get through with the project, you will do File, and this is when you've done absolutely everything. File, Save Project As, and Project to Group, whatever your group name is. So I'll say Group 5, and go ahead and save it. And then you'll load that file to the Dropbox. You may even want to load it also to the session, although your group members could have access to the Dropbox too. So it's not necessary to load it in both places, but you might want to have it in both places for convenience. And then every different group member can access that file and pull the pie chart if their part is the part that has pie chart, or pull the normal probability plot, or pull the tally, or the frequency, and all that sort of thing. Any questions about this? Yes.
So whenever you say that one person is going to do the Minitab and technology information, you also have to have access.
Right. And really that's true of everything. Whatever part you do, you should submit it to your group, and ideally you should submit it on the project discussion board so that there's a record of it and it's easy to track of where everything is. But for the Minitab, you want to do that within the next 3 or 4 days for sure. When is the next project due? November 29th. So today is the 16th. So we have 13 days. And so if your group wants you to turn it in 2 days early, you have 11 days to complete all the different parts. So I would think this week you would definitely want to get that Minitab done Monday at the very latest, and then that'll give about a week to get everything else. Does that make sense? Okay. So yeah, whoever volunteers to do the Minitab, do it quickly. Any other questions, comments?
So all of the charts and stuff that you get for all of the different variables, you don't X out of any.
Yeah, that's an important point. Tabitha said you don't X out of any of the graphs, you just minimize them. So, right here, if I wanted to move this out of my way, I would minimize it. And that keeps it to the part of the file. And so I have this little secret way of navigating, yeah, it's this one. And so I can go and I can say, well, I want histogram of jury duty, and I click on this. So don't X out of it, because then it removes it from the project. And I want to see everything in the project. But you can get it out of your way, do this little minimize.
But then,
Yeah.
so when, let's say, like, you're working on this, and you don't have a chance to.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes I can't devote like all long enough, and it takes me
Yeah.
all of them to pop up. You just.
In the past, now, I wish Katrina were here, because I haven't heard people recently complain about it, but in the past, people have tried to do part of the project, save it, go back to the project, open it up, do more, save it, and it only saves what you've done since.
So when you save it, you can save it once you're done with all of part A.
Well, I would recommend really doing the whole thing. And you can, again, either do it in the lab downstairs as a group, or you could just have one group member who is saying, yeah, I have 4 hours, you know, worst case scenario that I can dedicate to this and get it
like
done.
I can. I'm just asking. I guess I'm just a little confused.
If you have to go away, obviously save it. But there's no guarantee that it's going to be right if you do that. Certainly, if you have to go away and save it, at the end, after you've loaded the Dropbox, go back and do this little project manager thing. So if you mouse over it, it'll say project manager. And make sure I have all the history and all the box plots and all the charts.
So the actual part that we're turning in, which is the project as a whole.
Minitab, I will look at and make sure it has all the stuff in the section window, all the graphs, and that's worth 10 of the 60 points that the project 2 is worth.
So, I don't know, this is a little confused. We just use Microsoft Word to take everything that everybody else is giving you, and you take your stuff from Minitab and put it in a Microsoft Word file, and then you have to drop off.
So there are 2 parts to this project, really. I only talked about the Minitab part, but once you get the Minitab part done, then it says the report, and that's the orange. So the report has a part A, where it's asking you to pull certain stuff from there, and then the part B, and then a part C. So whoever's assigned part A in the report will open up that file that you've already done on Minitab, and it's all good, and it's loaded to the Dropbox. They'll open up that file and pull what they need for their part out.
Okay, I know.
Okay. Okay. That's it. So you'll use your appendix from Project 1, that will be the data. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I asked you to compare in the report your results from Minitab to what you got from doing it by hand and doing it by the calculator, and that's a nice double check. If you don't get the same thing, that's sort of a red flag that what's going on here, and you can ask me about that, and I can say yay or nay or that sort of thing. So.